From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 11th, 2021. It appears all is set for the swearing-in vote for a new government in Israel this coming Sunday, June the 13th at the Knesset in Jerusalem. A joint statement from Yesh Atid and Yamina, the two parties leading the change government, was submitted today, stating that all agreements with the total of 8 factions making up the new government had all been signed as required by law. The agreements, along with the new government's core principles, the statement read, are open to the public and can be reviewed. More details regarding the leadership includes that Yamina's Naftali Bennett is to serve first as prime minister for 2 years until August of 2023, as has been reported, while Lapid will serve as foreign minister and then take over as premier until November of 2025. Bennett was quoted saying in the statement that the government will work for all the Israeli public, religious, secular, ultra-Orthodox, Arab, without exception, as one, with Lapid saying the good of the country is top priority. That's what this unity government has been formed to do, he said. All the partners in this government are committed, first and foremost, to the people of Israel. Top ministerial positions in the new government include blue and white leader Benny Gantz continuing as Israel's defense minister. Yisrael Beitenu's leader Avigdor Lieberman will serve as Israel's finance minister. New Hope leader Gideon Sa'ar will be justice minister. Yamina's Ayelet Shaked will be interior minister. The Labor Party's Merav Michaeli will be transportation minister, and Labor's Omer Bar-Lev will be public security minister. Meretz leader Nitzan Horowitz will be the country's new health minister, and Tamar Zandberg, also from Meretz, will serve as its environmental protection minister. The agreement with the Arab Ram Party includes a deputy ministerial post in the Prime Minister's office, as well as chairmanship of the Knesset Interior Committee and chairmanship of the Arab Affairs Committee. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar responded yesterday to a statement we reported to you about from 12 Jewish Democratic members of the House of Representatives who asked her to clarify remarks she made earlier this week. Omar spoke on Monday with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken about ongoing international criminal court investigations. And in her tweet with the video of that conversation, she wrote, "We have seen unthinkable atrocities committed by the U.S., Hamas, Israel, Afghanistan, and the Taliban, grouping the U.S. and Israel with the terror groups." The Jewish Democrats wrote, equating them. Omar responded last night saying, to be clear, the conversation was about accountability for specific incidents regarding those ICC cases, not a moral comparison between Hamas and the Taliban and the U.S. and Israel. She wrote, "I was in no way equating terrorist organizations with democratic countries with well-established judicial systems." House leadership, led by Speaker Nancy Pelosi, welcomed Omar's clarification. They said drawing false equivalences between democracies like the U.S. and Israel and groups that engage in terrorism like Hamas and the Taliban foments prejudice and undermines progress towards a future of peace and security for all. Omar also added to her response that her colleagues, she said, should have called her instead of issuing a public statement. And she claimed that their statement was Islamophobic, referring to a part of the statement that reads, "The United States and Israel are imperfect and, like all democracies, at times deserving of critique. But false equivalencies give cover to terrorist groups." Senior Communications Director for Representative Omar, Jeremy Slevin, said that was accusing Omar, who is a Muslim, of giving cover to terrorist groups and was Islamophobic. Slevin also claimed that Omar reached out to the letter organizers before it was released in order to offer clarification, but he said the calls were not returned. Representative Brad Schneider, who spearheaded the Democrats' letter, welcomed Omar's statement, reiterating that democracies should never be lumped in with terrorists. Schneider tweeted, "I am pleased that Ilhan Omar heard our concerns about her tweet, issued a clarification, and agrees with our point. I hope," he wrote, "all can avoid such offhanded statements in the future as we work together to support American jobs and families." Well, Israel unveiled its pavilion for Expo 2020 Dubai, which is taking place this coming October, delayed because of the coronavirus pandemic. The pavilion's theme is Journey to Tomorrow, with the words for to tomorrow interlaced in Hebrew and Arabic displayed on the structure, promoting coexistence, which is, the organizer said, at the heart of the pavilion, which is open on all ends, inspired by the open tent of Abraham. Israel's Expo 2020 Dubai Commissioner General Elazar Cohen told the national news site, "We are going to take the visitors on a voyage of Israel, showing them the diversity of the people and the various ethnic groups in Israel," noting that theirs was the only pavilion where you can see the horizon, you can see the future. "It's an invitation," Cohen said, "for everyone to join us, to join together towards a future, a good future that the region has thanks to the Abraham Accord." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, June the 11th. Live Shabbat services are coming up from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by Shabbat services from the Hampton Synagogue. Then at 8:30, it's the film 6 Days in June, looking at the Six-Day War, which concluded on June the 10th of 1967. At 10:30, it's a replay of the Hampton Synagogue services, followed by an encore presentation from Central Synagogue. And coming up next, it's a look at this week's Torah Portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 11th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well, and Shabbat Shalom.